depression, homesickness, and a fall in sports. These are all a summary of my experience at Lake Erie College. Coming as a freshman, I was very excited. I committed to D2 playing soccer, and I made a group of friends that were just like me. I gave it a week, and all those friends left, transferred to other institutions. By that point, the homesickness kicked in. Not only that, but I felt very distant to the team because everyone was so judgmental of each other. I spent my first year at Lake Erie College unmotivated and depressed. I was also very injury prone, and oftentimes I skipped lots of training sessions because I didn't want to be around anyone. The thought of transferring always lingered throughout my mind, but something kept me from transferring. It wasn't because the school was so nice or the campus was beautiful, but more to prove a point to the coaches and the team that I wasn't a waste of a recruit. So by the time summer 2021 rolled around, I worked hard in order to be back for August. By the time that came, everything was clicking for me. I felt more confident, and the upperclassmen took notice of my progress. I felt good until the coach put me on the second team. This greatly discouraged me. I felt that I worked hard for something and I didn't get anything in return. And as soon as I started to work to make my way up to the first team, I got injured. This was one of the major turning points in what led me to transfer. Later on in the fall, late October, me and my family got the news that my grandpa was diagnosed with prostate cancer. From that point forward, I knew I needed to transfer institutions. According to hedgingreport.org, 37% of students transfer within their first 6 years of attending university. In this presentation, I will be talking about the major factors that influence transfer decisions. According to Brennan Bernard of the Washington Post, he states, "The best 4 years of your life." Spoiler alert, it was not. Like myself, Brennan was a keen young mind entering practically a new world by attending his first university, only to be left questioning if he made the right decision of attending that university. Every day of my first semester felt very dragged out and affected me mentally. Also, being an outcast of the team led to me questioning myself in many ways, and I felt like I did not belong in my previous institution, like Brett. It's very evident that students that have transferred have been through the same thought process in whether or not they should transfer. But in other cases, students don't get that decision of whether to stay or whether to go. So what are other reasons that students transfer? Firstly, affordability. Affordability gets in the way of a student's success. College is a complete investment in yourself and in your future. So while the tuition is accumulating each year, along with semesters worth of food and housing, that's a lot to pay out. And depending on the major that they graduate in, the starting salary but when they graduate is outweighed more by the amount they pay for school, which leads into my next reason. NBC News states, ask a child what they want to be when they grow up, and their answer will change 3 times before dinner. Ask an 18-year-old, and their answer would be unlikely to be more decisive. When I entered Lake Erie College, I wanted to be a graphic designer. Although I wasn't good doing art on a sketch pad or whatever, I thought my ideas were good enough to put on a computer, and it seemed very easy for me. I gave it a semester, and I quickly realized that it wasn't for me because I felt like everything needed to be perfect. I then transferred into accounting, only due to the fact because I love math and I like numbers. But I only gave it a couple weeks until I realized that it seemed like I was learning gibberish. transfer students are one of a kind. In my opinion, they work the most and they go through the most in order to succeed. There are many factors that play a big role in the transferring, and that has been shown in the presentation. I often reminisce about my days at Lake Erie College and think on how I would have ended up if I stayed there. My story and my experience is depressing, and there are other students that have been in the same situation as I've been. Or in other cases, students transfer due to other circumstances. So we all have our own stories about transferring, and through these stories and through these experiences, we all find ourselves as a student and as a person in order to succeed and build our future.